Oh, hi there! Welcome to another episode of the Okanagan Gardener and Forager channel. Do you spend much time looking around outdoors at various plants and wondering, can I eat that? I sure do. And one plant that if you've spent much time in the sunny interior Okanagan area that you may have seen on the hillsides is this one right here. Saskatoon berry, service berries. And I'm going to tell you that you can eat them, and I'll tell you some more about them, like how to ID them, and all sorts of other stuff. Saskatoon berries, scientific name is Amelanchier alnifolia. They're also known as serviceberry, Juneberry, Shadbush, and other names. They're a member of the family Rosaceae, so they're related to roses. And for me, the thing that I look for to identify them most easily is the leaves. Now, the leaves are simple, elliptic. They're opposite. So how they come off the stem, they go one side, then the other side, then the other side. And so they're like oval or elliptic shape, and they're toothed on the edges. See the edges there, they got those spikes like teeth. And usually they could be the whole way around or more on the top half. And they're a bluish green color. Bluish green on the top side, and they're pretty light on the bottom side. And sometimes I think when they're younger, maybe there'd be some hairs, but generally hairless. And the young stems are sometimes reddish. This one you can see there, it's kind of reddish on the stem. But then the older stems are gray and smooth. I'll walk over and show. The bark is pretty smooth and gray. Now the berries, which are actually palms, if that matters to you, they look quite a bit like apples, I think, and these are fairly ripe now, so they get to be a dark purplish or bluish or sometimes even black kind of color. When they're not quite ripe, they're a lighter color like this, but as they get darker, that's how you tell they're ready. There's a reddish pinkish kind of color as they're not quite as ripe. And the flowers, these are of course long past flowering stage. The flowers are seen in maybe April and May, and they're very white. I'll try to put some images or maybe some video. I made a video how to identify the flowers and describing other uses for the Saskatoon berry plant. So I'll put some of those images here. But the flowers are white. They have 5 petals and they're long and strap-like. So like they taper on one end, and they are very showy, so like they're big clusters. You can see them from far away, especially on, say, on the roadsides or whatever. If you've ever wondered what those big beautiful white flowers are, there's a good chance you're looking at Saskatoon berries. Now Saskatoon berries, they like to grow in open hillsides. They like sunny areas. Well-drained soil, and they can be there's all sorts of varieties, but they grow from maybe 1 to 7 meters tall. Another species that looks very similar to Saskatoon berries or service berries is this one, black hawthorn. Scientific name is Crataegus douglasii, and if you put them right next to each other, I think they look quite a bit alike. For me, the easiest way to tell them apart is the leaves. And what I think of the Saskatoon berry leaves, here's the Saskatoon berry leaf, and this ones are smaller, but don't go for size because different ones, different leaves, they vary in sizes. But for me, the leaves look very thin, and I don't know if you can tell through the video, but they look like very delicate leaves, whereas the black hawthorn leaves, they look like the size, you're not gonna, like, they look almost the same, but they're very like leathery looking compared to the Saskatoon berry leaves. So that's one way that that's how I would distinguish them. The Saskatoon ones almost look papery to me. Papery, delicate. And the black hawthorn, kind of rubbery, shinier. Here's the black hawthorn again, and really, other than looking at the berries and the leaves, a dead giveaway pretty much every time that it's a hawthorn is look for those vicious thorns on them. If you see those thorns, you can be pretty confident it's a hawthorn, because Saskatoons do not have those thorns. And hawthorns, in case you're wondering, they are edible. They're just not very good. They're fine. Kind of mealy and big seeds. Saskatoon berries were a very important food for a lot of Indigenous groups in Canada, and one way kind of showing maybe the importance that some of them put on the different varieties of the Saskatoon berries. Botanists in BC describe 3 different varieties, but the Okanagan Nation, and I'll try to pronounce it, Syilx Nation, they described 8 different varieties in our region. So, based on different, fruiting times, or the types of fruit, the flavors, how many berries, those sorts of things. So it was a very important food for all sorts of things. It was used for trade. The interior Indigenous groups used it trading with the coastal groups quite a bit, because it grows a lot better in the interior. And it was eaten in all sorts of ways, dried into like raisins, and then later rehydrated to be eaten, or also mashed, boiled, and dried on like mats to make like cakes. Now I'll try to pronounce it, and I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I think the name, as I understand it, for Saskatoon comes from the Cree word Misaskatumina, and that's how, the Saskatoon name came from it, and the town was named after the berries as well. So the juice was also used by some Indigenous people. It was given to babies after weaning, and sometimes it was also combined with less flavorful berries like the red osier dogwood, and combined with other things. And it was also traded extensively, and it was the principal berry that was used combined with meat and fat to make pemmican, which was something that was used like a non-perishable type, very hearty, very nutritious food that was used by a lot of travelers so that they could travel with it, and it lasted throughout the season. It has also been used in soups and stews and to flavor meats. So Saskatoon berries are edible, and you can use them pretty much in any ways that you would use blueberries. And they are very nutritious. They're a good source of plant-based fat and protein, and they're also a good source of fiber. What else? Vitamin C, iron, potassium, copper, and more. And you can eat them raw, you can dry them. They can be used to make jams, syrups, jellies, things like that. It's also good. You could put it on cereal, put it on yogurt or oatmeal, things like that. A warning is that the seeds, they contain, what's it called? Cyogenic glycosides, and that's also found in the leaves, seeds, bark, roots, and that can convert in your body to cyanide. So it can be poisonous, but like eating a few should be fine, but also cooking it or drying it renders the cyanide, it destroys it, so it makes it safe. So here's a plant a little farther away. They go 1 to 7 meters tall maybe, but when they're growing, they put up multiple canes from the base, and they also spread by underground stems, rhizomes. And so like where I am, there's one there, one over there, and all around me. And so they can form like stands or clusters and cover up a whole area with a whole bunch of them. And they're pretty easy to propagate if you are interested. And they have medicinal uses. The stems and roots were boiled into a tea, which was used to treat lung issues and infections, as well as coughs, colds, and fevers. Before the berries ripen, they can be eaten raw or used to make a decoction to treat diarrhea. Also, maybe funnily or interestingly, if you eat too many of the berries, it could cause diarrhea. So you could boil the raw ones, but if you waited too long and they're all ripe and you eat too many, well, you might end up with some diarrhea. But anyways, some other medicinal uses for Saskatoon berries include the leaves could be used to make a decoction to help firm tissues and reduce excess mucus due to their astringent properties. The berries are also anti-inflammatory and antioxidant, so they can be used to help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. And the berries and inner bark and roots were sometimes boiled, and this was used to help prevent miscarriages and to stop excess menstrual bleeding and cramping, and to help women transition into menopause. The juice and inner bark were also used after birthing for pain relief and as a blood tonic. So these berries, right now this is July, and I'm pretty late in the season, so you can see probably that a lot of them already dried up. They're called June berries partly because they ripen in June. And I can't remember if I said it. I think I said something about the leaves, but you can use the leaves. You can eat the leaves, maybe in small amounts, and also the leaves can be used to make a tea, boiled, or not, a decoction with the leaves. But these leaves are kind of late in the season. You'd probably want to take the leaves to make a decoction in the spring. Yes, so obviously, maybe not obviously, but I'm in the Okanagan, and I think these still taste pretty good. They're a little seedier here, but it's really interesting, I think, that there's such a variety of them. When we lived up in Fort St. John, the Saskatoons up there were like really good, just super delicious. These are still good, not quite as good, but I don't know, find some in your area, give them a try. And if you liked the video, then please give it a thumbs up. And thanks for watching.